Hey all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kritika Dadich, your reader, and today I'm gonna read Legends of Pensam by Mamang Dai. So I will continue that fourth subchapter today, and the name of the fourth subchapter is The Scent of Orange Blossom. So let's get started. The two women were communicating like songbirds. It must be a lament, Nenam thought, and imagined a bird flying high in the sky, bringing news of death, while the wind caught the soft feathers slowly spiraling earthwards. The song rose, echoed, and wept without any visible change of expression on the faces of the singers, except once. When in the long exchange of notes, she saw the smile growing in their eyes as they took the notes higher and higher like dancing leaves that soared skywards until they disappeared. The audience was left breathless. It was an impossible music. Ninam felt her throat choked with tears. What were they singing about? She looked quite quickly at Cow. He appeared imperturbable in his seat, but he clapped and now looked at her as if to say, "Well, what about this, huh?" And for some reason, looking at him, at the way he tilted his head towards her slightly, she understood why the song had seemed familiar. It was about loss, the kind that she had known when the men she had loved went away. It was the kind of loss she had understood long before she suffered it, listening as a little girl to an old ballad sung by the villagers to bless their warrior sons. Perhaps these women had been singing similar words. These were our arrows. This our poison. This the warrior's art. These are songs of love. This was her land. She had chosen it over love. She did not ask herself if she was happy. It was another summer. Clouds would swap down over the hills, threatening rain, and then suddenly surrender, leaving the evening sky filled with a strange, wild glow. Cow came to visit her often. He came to Yellen from the village of Motum across the river to board the big ferry that took him further downstream to the distant town where he was completing his studies. He was the eldest son of the Porov family and was one of the first men of the area to be traveling out so far. Everyone spoke of him with affection and praise. Cow, however, never said much at all. This silence provoked Nina, who began to talk and open up just so that she could tease him and exact a few words from him. How could she have known that the serious cow was enchanted by her gossip, her trusting face, her lips, her eyes, and that he longed for the heat and musk of her woman's body? It took a long time for him to break his silence. Nina was shocked by his proposal, and when he came again to speak to her father, she hid herself by the greenery building at the outskirts of the village. She saw that the clouds had drifted down low during the night, and without the sun they were cradled in the mountains and still clinging to the trees. There are so many things to share, she thought wistfully. Yes, yes, her old aunt had also told her when David had gone away. Let him go, don't hurt yourself. You will see there are so many other good people in the world. Give your love, share your love, and make someone happy. These are enough gifts for one lifetime. Don't sacrifice your life for a dream. Oh, how long ago that seemed now, David? She would never forget him. As long as there was life and breath in her body, she would be there with her. She had promised herself that, yet her heart was beating wildly, wondering what Cow and her father would be discussing. She knew intuitively that Cow would be a good husband. Ah, what will happen? She asked herself, realizing now that the true sadness of love is the old, undying image being slowly replaced by the expectation of a new love. Neenam and Cow became man and wife amidst great joy and celebration. Rakat's father was the one who worked day and night to see that everything was done according to custom. Old men and women whom no one had ever seen before arrived from villages no one had heard of, and the slaughter of mithans and the consumption of food and drink was something that no one could ever forget. The ceremony was specially distinguished by the presence of Hoxo's father, Luther, who had come to wish the family. Old Sogon and his wife sat on the veranda and shouted and joked in great excitement, for they were relieved and happy for their daughter. She was going to a good home. Cow's family had brought rich gifts of mittens and old metal plates and dishes. There was even a road that the British had built which passed right at the edge of the village. Only one another village in all their hills had a road close to it. The marriage was also the cementing of wider ties with village on the other side of the river between the powerful Doing and Poro clan. And this was an important alliance for the Kebang Uppers, the village elders who would be traveling there on many further missions to resolve cases with their power of oratory. Neenam's childhood friend Yasam and Nayang wept when they came down to the ferry ghat. They were carrying enormous bottles and an old tin trunk that contained everything that Neenam would need to begin her new life in Motam. Yes, Neenam said to herself, tonight I will see everyone well fed and happy. It was the festival of Solang and the celebration of her first year of marriage. The conversation was loud and lively. Everyone had something to say. Old aches and pains were dissolved. Personal preferences revealed. In one corner, some women spoke in hushed tone, then burst into loud peals of laughter. The fire seemed to turn and twist as if trying to light up all the faces. A breeze gathered forces and carried with it the scent of rain. Jebu said everyone should sing. No sooner had he said this than the company heard the rumbling entry of a lorry that had been hired to transport the Ponang girls from the neighboring villages who were going to sing and dance all night. Whatever one may say, we all became like the ones before us, said Kinu. Then he turned to the women huddled in the corner and said, now you ladies there, don't be so serious. Get ready to sing and drink. When you get to be like us, you will also grow serious, retorted the oldest one of the group. You just wait and see. But we will sing, of course. Why not? Huh? Whatever one may say, every one of us follow in the footsteps of the ones before us. Kinu kept repeating to himself. The girls spilled out of the lorry, already making musics with their long necklaces of silver coins. They were dressed in identical red gale with short black jackets. They were 20 girls in all, and they looked fresh and eager, each one nudging her friends as they shuffled towards the fire. What beauties, huh? The young girls are here, shouted Kinu. The girls giggled. Everyone must sing, Kinu shouted again, and almost spilling his drink, he rushed across to Cow and began howling him up. Cow was smiling and shaking his head. Then he washed his hands in the bucket of water and stood up. Neenam watched him closely and heard him clearing his throat. Everyone laughed and clapped. They laughed more when Cow was started singing a very slow, serious song. Ha ha, stop him, someone. This won't do, shouted Kinu. There was great merriment while Cow continued to sing with his hand in his pocket. Neenam laughed and they looked at each other. Cow still grinning and singing until Kinu cried out loudly that Cow should be exempted immediately or he would spoil the evening with his pitiful sobriety. Neenam looked up at the sky. The moon sailed brightly on the ragged black veil, and a looming pillar of cloud began to cover half the sky. It seemed to her that heaven itself was sloping downward in a shaft of light, and it gave her a thrill to feel the evening deepening. This was her world now, a small village in the wilderness, the big clouds moving overhead, and the faces of her family and friends shining in the firelight. Yes, a moment of happiness like this. She breathed in deeply and felt the baby kicking in her womb. The rains are not over yet. Cow had told her the other night when she had cried out about her flowers and seeds. Cow had stacked the earth for her scented creepers, and she was impatient for rain. Wait a bit, he said, and sure enough, the downpour had come one night, hissing and splashing. Neenam had conceded defeat. Now she smiled, remembering this careful and attentive trait of cows. A row of budding cassia tree in a straight row was his handiwork, and he had helped her plant her orange trees in a sheltered grove on the slope of the hills that overlooked the river. We remember things by little signs posts that we have planted here and there, she thought. She had planted the orange trees thinking that she would never escape the scent of oranges blossom. And now, when she looked at the trees, she recalled all the fragments of the past that no one but she could understand. Time had changed so many things. Nothing was complete. But there was comforters looking at the green hills and the rivers that she had crossed to become Cow's wife. Together they would raise a family, guard their land, and live among their people, observing the ancient customs of their clan. Surely these were enough gifts for one lifetime. So that's all, my dear. Tomorrow we'll begin with another chapter. Till now, take care, bye bye. And if you enjoy the lecture, please like it, subscribe it, and share it. Enjoy your day. Bye bye.